This is Indonesia, Australia's near neighbour, yet with many parts that feel as remote as anywhere on Earth. This nation of over 17,000 islands, a melting pot of 1,300 distinct ethnic groups and cultures, is where we plan to explore. Transportation methods can be limited in these far-flung places, but we have our Dreamtime, not only our means of travel, but also our floating home. We invite you to sail along with us on our 41-year-old ketch as we set out on an adventure of a lifetime. Welcome to Season 4, Dreamtime in Indonesia. Hi everybody and welcome aboard SV Our Dreamtime. If you saw our real-time update last week, you'll know that we're in Sulawesi, this beautiful remote area of Indonesia. But right now we want to talk to you about today's episode. And, well, it's pretty action-packed.
Today's episode starts off rather slow, Rob. It's not action-packed at the beginning, but it builds some real dramas.
We had an overnight sail from Pasawajo all the way down to a beautiful reef complex we anchored inside. That was lovely. Then we moved on to another island, had a sand patch identified.
And we had to get over that reef to anchor, and it was a drama.
It was a little bit sketchy, but it worked out fortunately. Then we sailed down to the actual island of Pulau Bonerate,
which was absolutely amazing. The boat building, the traditional boat building, let's look at it as traditional boat building, and then the interaction with the children and the village was fantastic.
We had a fantastic day ashore there, but when we returned to the dock, we looked out to sea and we knew there was a serious problem.
Yeah.
Our Dreamtime was right where we left her, but our friend's boat, Simon, he was off on a tour and his catamaran, Rahana, was simply gone.
Yep.
We searched the horizon and it was a speck in the distance. So then it was a race to try and save it from the reef.
Well, good morning, everyone. We're off sailing. It looks like sailing weather, doesn't it? But don't let that fool you. We love to have anchorages like this, but we like to have wind so we can sail distances. And just around the corner of this beautiful headland that we have, there will be wind. Probably 15 knots on the nose till we get through the bottom of the island, and then we will actually turn and head down to Taka Lambongan and a reef system. The reef system, we've picked out a beautiful lagoon to stop at for our second night, because our first night will be at sea. It's over 110 nautical miles, so we're going to do an overnighter to get down there. Then we'll be doing a day hop down to Taka Lambongan it is. So Taka Lambongan is another 20 to 30 nautical miles, and that's where they do boat building, traditional boat building. So that's going to be really interesting to see. And from there, we will be going to Flores, the island of Flores, which everyone knows of the famous places of Lombok-Bajo and Komodo National Park. So that's where we'll be heading for the next few days. The stop here at Pasawajo has been absolutely memorable. And why has it been memorable? The people. The people have been absolutely beautiful. We will really miss Pasawajo.
Well, this is a little different to the anchorage. We did say that around the corner was going to be a moppy, and it is. We have it right on our nose, 15 knots. But as we keep turning around the southern point of Bhutan, we will get a better sail and angle, and onto Taka Lambongan we go.
It's pretty sloppy at the moment. We've got a fair bit of swell, which is beam on, and the wind's only about 6-7 knots. So as the boat rolls, the sails are just flapping around. We've just got to get to the bottom corner of Bhutan Island. It's in sight. The lighthouse is just over there, but it's just taking us a while. Temptation, of course, is to start the engine and just motor to that point and get on the new wind angle, but you know, we're sailors. We're supposed to do this the old-fashioned way, which is flop around for a while.
A little bit of fun when you got dolphins on the bow.
sailing into the sunset. We've now got a heavily reefed headsail only. We've put away the mainsail entirely. We're still doing sort of 5.5 knots, and we had to do everything we can to slow the boat down, otherwise we'll arrive in the dark. Pretty cool sunset happening. Meanwhile, Karen is down preparing the evening meal from the shuttle chef.
I am.
And as the sun sets, it's time to activate our spot tracker. We'll send another location report. We'll do the same again at sunrise in the morning, and then change the message to show where we anchor inside the reef complex. As the sun lifted over the eastern horizon following a bouncy but uneventful night, we were on approach to the reef complex.
Definitely middle, straight through. It's always a bit stressful coming through, isn't it?
Yeah, I've never been to this reef complex before. The navionics chart is totally wrong. But fortunately the sat imagery is good, and we're right in the middle of the channel at the moment. Wander down towards the arm, see what's there. Big bloody reef. Huge. Big butcher. Despite the wind continuing to blow at 20 knots and more, the reef provided great shelter from the swell outside. After our night passage, we simply relaxed for the day, then next morning decided to check out the reef. Karen was keen to try our dive hooker for the first time from Simon's very stable cat dinghy. The coral wasn't outstanding, but it was still a very enjoyable swim.
Well, good morning everyone from our beautiful anchorage in a coral lagoon. This coral lagoon is huge. We've never seen one so big. We thought Fitzroy was big, but this one is massive. We've got from our anchorage here, we have, just to tell you, 4.5 nautical miles across to the pass to get out on the western side. So quite a little journey that we need to do. We are heading out today to go to another little island, and I've totally forgotten the name of it. Sorry, Rob can put it on the screen below because I have no idea anymore where I'm going. It's a little island, it's 30 nautical miles thereabouts. It's to break our trip because Pulau Bonerate is 62 thereabouts, so it's a very long day through a lot of reef, so we decided to break it down into just 2-day hops. If this place is interesting, we may stop another day, but as Rob said, we are on the 5th of the month and we've got to be in Bali by the end of the month, so again we're running out of time.
We enjoyed a pleasantly uneventful sail 30 miles to Pulau Jinatung, but it was there we discovered finding a spot to anchor was going to be a challenge. We'd spotted a very nice looking sand patch on the satellite imagery, but found it surrounded by fringing reef.
That's correct. I'm just going to tour around here. The boys are actually going to put the dinghy down with a handheld gauge, depth gauge, and actually going to go in. I got to 4.9 with Rob on the bow, and he said it's looked constantly, but there was sand in patches. Over.
Yeah, roger, that's about it, but it's right on the edge of the reef though, isn't it? So it's a bit of a borderline sort of a anchoring situation.
Yeah, if we can get the anchor to be in that sand, we've still got quite a number of metres before it drops off. Over.
Yeah, roger. I think we might box onto Bonerate, Karen. If we crack on now, we can get down there in time, I think.
No problem at all. That's what skippers do. They look for the safest for each boat. So have a good trip down there, and we will catch up. Over.
Roger. See you down there tomorrow, eh?
See you then, mate.
With not enough daylight left to head on to Pulau Bonerate, we elected to drop the dinghy and survey the depths over the coral with our handheld gauge.
To enter the area, we have an 8-foot deep crossing. Once we're in there, we have like 10 to 13 feet, so 3 to 4 metres.
Okay, so the tide is going up by 1.5, and overnight we have a drop of 43 centimetres. Over.
Now 43 centimetres is not a concern.
That's correct.
Russell's going to put me back on the boat and he will lead in with the dinghy. Over.
Okie dokie.
Russell was then able to lead the way in the dinghy, and we anchored nice and safe in good holding sand with adequate swing room to the coral heads. It was a little bit stressful, but a great night's sleep on very smooth water was the reward. At first light on the peak of the high tide, we exited exactly over the track we came in on, and then set sail for Pulau Bonerate. It took a little while, but we eventually found a nice patch of sand amongst the reefs to set our anchor in, not far to the north of the village. Then we wasted no time heading ashore for our first look at the traditional wooden boat building Pulau Bonerate is known for. there was an interesting mix of modern power tools and traditional hand tools being used by different builders. The generator looked like an S4-Ep from a museum, but it still got the job done. The timber pegs go straight through the planking and through the ribs of the boat. Who needs stainless screws and bolts? After wandering through the boats, we found ourselves the centre of attention with the locals.
Over this way. No children in the background. Ah, bagus. Terima kasih. The next morning we went ashore to explore more of the village. Landing at the town dock, it was really interesting to see the important transport role still played by the traditional timber panisi boats in these remote areas. Have we mentioned that maintenance isn't real big in Indonesia? Have a look at this jetty. Selamat pagi. My grandfather and my uncle were both bricklayers. I wonder what they would have thought of these handmade bricks. It looks like they're drying candle nut over here on the racks. Candle nut is actually something the Indonesians use a lot in their cooking. The closest we have to it in Australia is macadamia nut. So if you see any Indonesian recipes where candle nut is required, you can swap it out for macadamias.
According to the sign, they're building a peak nature tourism facility. We just really enjoy wandering villages like this and getting down some of the little back alleys and literally just seeing and experiencing how these people live. It's a very small village. I think we've seen a couple of trucks. Other than that, it's only motorcycles or little trikes to move goods around. Simple life, but everybody has got a smile on their face. Remember that football? We took the kids in a new one, and weren't they thrilled? When we returned to the dock, we saw immediately that something was seriously wrong. The catamaran Rahana that had been anchored near us was gone. We knew its crew Simon and Robin were off on a motor scooter tour of the island, so realised it must have dragged its anchor loose. We spotted it as a tiny speck far in the distance over at the next island. Hurriedly dropping the girls back to our Dreamtime, we then raced across the channel, not knowing what carnage we would find, as at best she looked to be very close to the fringing reef. When we finally reached Rahana, we were relieved to find her very close to the coral, but thankfully still in deep water. We then set about getting her underway. Sorry, but we didn't bother with the camera until things were under control. We've got the anchor up. Russ is driving us off the reef, so things look pretty okay at the moment. Unfortunately, we tripped the circuit breaker on the windlass and couldn't find the switch, so we pulled the rest of the way up by hand. Russ is now stand-in skipper for Rahana. Not that the owner skipper knows about.
Not by choice.
So we've been trying to ring Simon on the WhatsApp to let him know the boat had dragged. And when we got on board and I tried to ring him again, we heard his phone inside the salon ringing. So that's not going to be much good to him. So what we've realised is sometimes you can just be dead set lucky. Rahana had drifted across there, and as it turns out the anchor is not on the bottom. We're in 150 metres. That explains why the chain and bridle and everything was just hanging straight down vertical. And Rahana had been held in place for a little while by wind against current. The tide going one way and the wind the other, and she just sat there with this anchor hanging down in mid-water. So as soon as the tide had changed, she was going to be on the reef. So yeah, sometimes you can be damn lucky. This is one of those times. Unbelievable. Simon's off on a motorcycle tour to have a look at where they build the fiberglass boats on the other side of the island. Didn't take his phone, as we said. We could hear it ringing inside when we tried to ring him. The salon is locked. The door's locked, that is, but all the hatches are open, so I just climbed in a hatch and tried to reset the windlass breaker, but I couldn't find where the switch is. It doesn't appear to be on the switchboard itself. So probably like our Dreamtime, it's in an obscure place somewhere that you need to know exactly where to find it. So we don't have a windlass to put the anchor back down. We'll just go and tool around slowly, and Simon and Robin are going to get a huge surprise when they come back from their motorcycling and come to the jetty and see us motoring around in circles. The wayward cat owner approaches. Collingwood has no chance today. You've already used all your luck.
I think so. Thanks, guys. You just noticed a dragon, did you?
Dragon?
She was 20 to 30 metres off the reef on the other island.
In 154 metres of water. It must have just dragged off the end of the reef.
Yep. The chain was just hanging vertical.
We were up at the lighthouse on the old tour.
Oh, you saw it?
And I thought,
That's
it's our Dreamtime, and I'm closer to here. What's going on here? So I flew down, fastened the Valentino Rossi on the boat.
And we saw it right down. It was right, see that beach over there?
Yeah.
The second beach that's down? She was right over there.
Yeah,
The big beach.
Not the big beach, the split
The little
there. The little
slip
tiny
to
one
the
down
right.
there. Yeah, it was right down off there.
So we didn't know whether we were going to find her with the rudders on the reef or what was going on.
That's your worst nightmare, coming back and finding the boat has just disappeared.
Yeah, we were just so fortunate to be in the right place at the right time, and it worked out this time. But that is such a scary event, and we're just so pleased that it had a happy ending.